Thank you to Jackery for sponsoring this video. I got something cool to tell you guys about, but the coolest thing that I can tell you about before I start is give you a chance to win 500 bucks. I love giving back for supporting me all these years. Thank you. We made this super easy. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me the first thing that you would power with your new Jackery, what you would do with it. Tell me a fact about yourself. Just make sure you leave a comment. You can enter once per day. We'll let it run for 10 days, open to anyone in the world. Make sure there's a way to contact you either in your comment or on your YouTube page. Made it really, really easy. Information again, way down below. So my mom, she lives like 20 minutes if I drive slow, 15 minutes if I'm pushing it from us. And she lives by herself. She has no backup power at her house, none. And I found this out in a very real way, kind of the middle part of last year, when her whole neighborhood lost power for the better part of the day. She called me as she usually does, but not because she didn't know what to do with herself, but because she was starting to worry about the fridge. And a multi-day outage at her house is not the kind of thing that sort of I wanted her to find out about after the fact. So when Jackery, and thank you to them for sponsoring this video, sent over the HomePower 3600 Plus, I had a very specific person in mind the whole time I was testing this. Someone who is not going to read a manual, someone who needs this to work the first time by herself or himself. And I figured the best way to find out if it could do that was to actually sort of, I don't know how to say this nicely, but just kind of beat on it. So we brought it to the studio to test it on everything we have here. We've got a full-size fridge here, all our camera gear, computers, lights. This thing can keep a production environment running and keep our kitchen running very easily. And it did. Monitors, lights, laptops, all charging simultaneously. I kept waiting for it to complain or give me sort of power surge issues, and it never did. 3,584 watts of capacity, 3,600 watts of continuous output, 7,200 watt surge ceiling for things like compressor motors that need to spike, sort of kick on. In practice, I plugged in everything I could think of and it just ran it. The physical unit surprised me a little bit. So let me get into it. We talked about these things in the past, but this one is a bit different. First, 77 pounds. So it's not light. But Jackery claims this is the lightest 3.6 kilowatt hour LFP station on the market, so take that for what it's worth. Comparable units, I did the research, you don't have to, are close to 99 pounds. So, you know, it's heavy, but not as heavy. It also has luggage wheels and a telescoping handle, so if you're rolling it around, it makes it a lot easier not picking it up and carrying it. Moved around the studio without any help, and it was fine. My mom can move it. Again, 70-year-old woman. I'm guessing you could probably move it too, and that matters. It's also, like, it's not gonna win a beauty contest, but it's not ugly, which sounds like a low bar in this category, but it kind of isn't. It parks in a room and doesn't look like a piece of industrial equipment like some of these do. The setup is where this thing earns its place for someone like her. You plug it into charge and the power goes out, you press one button. That's it, press one button and start plugging things in. No installation required. For someone who's going to call me if it does anything unexpected, that makes everything to me. There's a manual transfer switch that can actually back up home circuits if you want something more permanent, but even without that, one button. One thing worth knowing before you buy, the 240 volt output in the specs requires 2 units in parallel. One unit runs at 120 volts, which covers everything most households actually need during an outage. Again, fridge, lights, router, heater, whatever devices you're charging. Just worth knowing ahead of time so there aren't any surprises. Now, the reason this unit handles all of that reliably comes down to something most people skip right past on the spec sheet. The battery chemistry is what separates it from the cheaper options. So lithium iron phosphate. I never heard those words together, but know that it's more thermally stable than the standard lithium ion, which means it's safe to run indoors, no ventilation concerns, no fumes, nothing. You can't say that about a gas generator for sure, and you can't always say it about older lithium ion stations either. 6,000 charge cycles, 10-year rated lifespan, 5-year warranty. These batteries last longer and hold their charge longer too, and for my mom's situation specifically, that's where this thing actually got me. So Jackery calls it zero drain, and the claim is 95% charge retention after sitting for a full year. So charging it up, left it alone for weeks, checked the app, and it lost almost nothing. Now I can't verify the full year claim, but 2 weeks of sitting untouched and it was still basically full. And for someone who charges this up and then doesn't think about it until something goes wrong, that retention is a whole ballgame. So think about the scenario, right? You're not gonna keep your battery pack charged all the time. Charge it once and put it wherever you're gonna keep it and hope that it's gonna have enough charge when you wanna use it. With this, you don't have to worry about it. I think like the nightmare scenario with any backup device is probably reaching for an emergency and then finding the battery is dead or not as charged as you expect it to be. For my mom, who is most definitely not gonna remember to chop this off every few months, who sometimes forgets to charge her phone, that matters more than almost anything else on a spec sheet. And if she ever decides she wants more runway the base unit gives her, there's options for that too. It's expandable, it's up to 21 kilowatt hours with additional battery packs, and 2 units together gets you to 43. Just for perspective, an average house burns through about 30 kilowatt hours a day. So the math on the multi-day coverage starts working pretty fast if you wanted to. Most people don't start there, and they don't need to, but knowing you can grow instead of replacing it. Which brings me to the part everyone's going to ask, the price. MSRP is $2,799. And I'm not gonna pretend that's cheap or nothing. Jackery does run sales regularly, so check the link in the description for current pricing, but here's how I thought about it. Sort of a chest freezer full of food is $300 to $500. One hotel night where the house gets too hot or too cold, another couple hundred. A pipe that bursts because the heat went out is potentially thousands. When I started adding up what a bad outage actually costs versus what this costs, the numbers did make a little bit more sense. When I added in the part where my mom is alone and 20 minutes away and I can't always get there fast enough if I'm traveling, it started to make even more sense. And I am giving her this unit. That's where this will end up. I tested it, I know what it does, and it's going to her house. One button, always charged, fridge stays on, lights stay on. She doesn't have to call me at 11 o'clock at night to ask what to do. That's the whole pitch for me. Jackery has a runtime calculator in the description where you can sort of put in your specific appliances and see exactly how long this runs them. Worth doing before you buy. And if you've got someone in your life in a similar situation, you already know who I'm talking about. There are a lot of products in this category. Jackery's been a leader for a reason. I really like the fact that it is one touch, but really what sold me more than anything was the charge retention. I think that separates this from a lot of the competition. But again, you want to check it out, decide if the price is worth it for you is the only question you can answer. All the links you need though, way down below.